Have you ever wondered what it would be like to watch a life form be born, grow, and divide, not just under a microscope, but molecule by molecule? Well, today we're diving into something incredible, the very first 4D simulation of a living organism's entire life cycle. Take a look at this. I know it looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but this is a digital life form. Imagine seeing an entire life story play out right in front of you. Not some blurry image through a lens, but a super precise atom-by-atom simulation. It's not fiction anymore. A team of scientists just made this a reality. So why is this such a huge deal? To really get it, you first have to understand the massive challenge of actually watching life happen at this tiny scale. Think about it. Our best lab experiments give us valuable clues, sure, but they're kind of like getting a single photograph from an entire movie. Or maybe a blurry photo of a huge crowd. You get the general idea, but you completely miss the individual story. The dream, the holy grail in biology, has always been to watch the whole film, to follow one single cell on its complete journey, with every single molecule playing its part. So how on earth did they finally do it? Well, the key was to start simple. They picked the absolute perfect organism to model, a little marvel of minimalism known as JCVI Syn3A. Now, this is a seriously unique organism. It's synthetic, which means scientists literally built its DNA from the ground up. They tossed out everything but the absolute bare essentials for life, creating what's basically a living blueprint. It's like having the source code for a computer program, only this program is a living, breathing cell. And that beautiful simplicity is exactly what makes it the perfect starting point for such a crazy, ambitious project. We're talking only 493 genes in a nice, predictable 105-minute life cycle. It's a system you can actually get your head around. And that predictability, that's key to knowing if your simulation is even on the right track. Okay, so how do you actually build a digital copy of a cell? Well, it takes a totally new kind of microscope, one that isn't made of glass and lenses, but of powerful algorithms and a whole lot of processing power. What's really fascinating here is that there's no single program that can simulate a whole cell. It's just too complex. So the team had to combine a whole bunch of different computational tools, each one a specialist. They used one type of math to model how the cell makes energy, another for how it reads its DNA, and a completely different one just for the physics of how that chromosome folds up. It's like a team of experts all working together to build one complete picture. A really great way to think about it is like a flight simulator. You don't just model the wings, right? You have to model the engine, the electronics, the weather, and how all of it interacts in real time. This is exactly the same idea, but for biology. And let me tell you, the process to create this digital cell was massive. It all started with tons and tons of real-world data from countless experiments. Then, the scientists unleashed their whole suite of simulation tools on supercomputers. And get this, it took 250 GPU hours just to simulate one cell's 105-minute life. That is a huge amount of computing power. And now for the main event, seeing this digital cell in action. After all that prep, the scientists hit run and got to watch the full 105-minute life cycle just unfold. And remember, this is a 4D simulation, so we can see everything happening in 3D space as time ticks forward. Here are the key moments in its short life. The cell is born at time 0. About 5 minutes later, it starts copying its DNA. That whole process takes it right up to the 51-minute mark, and finally, at 105 minutes, the cell divides. Here it is at the starting line, time 0. You can see the cell membrane, that jumbled up circular chromosome in blue, and about 500 ribosomes. Those are the cell's little protein factories, all ready to get to work. Now let's jump to the 65-minute mark, just past the halfway point. The cell has gotten bigger, and the most critical job, DNA replication, is done. You can clearly see the two identical copies of the chromosome, one in red and one in blue, starting to pull away from each other as they get ready for division. And this is the final moment. At exactly 105 minutes, the cell pinches in the middle and splits into two new daughter cells. Each one is its own unique individual with a full set of genetic instructions ready to start its own life cycle. It's amazing. I mean, this digital movie is just incredible to watch. But beyond the wow factor, what does it actually teach us? What new insights does it give us into the fundamental rules of life?
While the first and most important test of any simulation is, does it match reality? And this one was absolutely spot on. The model predicted the cell would divide every 105 minutes, which is exactly what happens in the real world. That's a huge checkmark.
But the model also passed a much more subtle test. It predicted the ratio of DNA at the start and end points of replication. Now, this is a pretty complex measurement that tells you a lot about the intricate dance of molecules inside the cell. The simulation's prediction of 1.28 was incredibly close to the real-world value of 1.21. That proves it's not just getting the big picture right, but the fine details too. But here's where things get really, really interesting. Even though every single simulated cell started with the exact same genetic code, the outcomes were all slightly different. This is because of a fundamental principle in biology called stochasticity, which is just a fancy word for randomness. These graphs show that randomness in action. See, when the cell divides, it doesn't split its internal parts perfectly 50-50. Some molecules, like these ribosomes, are distributed kinda randomly. This means the two daughter cells, even though they're genetically identical, are not perfect copies. They each start life with a slightly different set of resources, which makes each one a unique individual. Life, as it turns out, is not a perfectly predictable machine. This breakthrough really opens up a whole new era. We finally have that flight simulator for life that lets us test our understanding of biological rules in a way we never could before. And it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. If we can accurately simulate life, what's to stop us from one day designing it? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe Computational Genome Biology.